Welcome back to another video. This time I thought I would show off my World War I 6mm German division for Great War Spearhead. This is the division that opposes the Canadians on Vimy Ridge. It's the 79th Reserve Infantry Division. It consists of 3 regiments. Each regiment has 3 battalions, so you have the 261st Regiment, 262nd Regiment, and in reserve the 263rd Regiment. Each regiment, has essentially, each battalion has 6 companies. There's the 3 infantry company or 4 infantry companies, a machine gun company, and a mortar company, making up the bases along with the regimental HQ. These are 6mm, like I said before, and they are from various miniature manufacturers. Let's see, we have regular miniatures for the artillery pieces on both sides there. They're both regular, not the best miniatures, but they're serviceable. The main bulk of the infantry is from Scotia Grendel, I think. And then there's bits and bobs from Bacchus. Now, the Bacchus German figures I haven't actually, although I've painted, I haven't actually created on their basing yet. Essentially, I have them on these lollipop sticks still from years ago. Let's see, I get zoom in here. Come on, camera, zoom in. These are the Bacchus World War I Germans. They're much more detailed. So, come on, do it. They're much more detailed than the Scotia miniatures, which are here. They're very basic figures, but at this scale, little work. On the basing here, I have 3 261, and it has a green strip. And on the field, when they're all down on the table, it's just to denote who's what, or who goes where, who's in command of who. So the green strip is the 261st Regiment, the blue and the red are the other ones. Now, in the game, there is no real reason to put the units in these battalions. Essentially, the 261st Regiment is the blob. So this whole section here is basically what you would control, and if you lose bits and bobs from each, the game rules don't really care. I just happen to like it laid out in their battalions. Just something I like to do. It's a pet thing that I do. I can't help it. Anyway, let's take a look at the German artillery. Now, these slid around the box quite a bit, so he's got a bit of a chip on his helmet, but this is the irregular artillery for the Germans, and you know what, I could, at least it's an artillery piece, but really, I think I could have my cat throw up a hairball, and I could mold it into a better looking artillery piece than that. And that seems like a criticism of irregular, and in a way it kind of is. They're pretty bad. Here is that's the light field howitzer, or field gun, and here's the howitzer. A little bit more distinguishable as an actual artillery piece. We'll look at the core artillery, or the divisional artillery here. An odd looking gun, but that's the heavy howitzer, I believe. And then at the back here we have the super heavy howitzer. And that's a beast of a gun. Now, it's not aiming too high up in the sky there. I don't know what that's about, but must be pretty close range firefight. But that's like the artillery pieces. That's the layout. Here's the commander of the 79th. Just a couple of trucks to donate that he must be in his little staff car there. Of course, the defender gets a copious amount of barbed wire, and it's usually you can, if you're playing like a quick game yourself, you can have the defender lay those out the way he wants, or the scenario book will tell you. The scenario book will also tell you where you have your trench lines laid and where you have your pillboxes. Now, there's 2 types of pillboxes. There's the heavy pillbox and the light pillbox. The heavy pillbox here I bought from Timecast, I believe. I just put them on a base there, and it's very basic stuff. There's no need. The great thing about doing World War I basing is that it's basically brown, different browns, especially on the Western Front. And then you have your little pillboxes, which I haven't actually painted these ones yet, but they could be World War I or World War II. here's part of the trench line. There's several pieces laid out in front. I made these myself. I made them with drywall spatter, and I just got a wooden, I don't know, piece of wood from Michael's art section, and I put the drywall spatter all over. I let it almost dry, and then I took a couple of toothpicks, put them side by side, and I just kind of dragged them into the shape that I wanted. After a while, that became pretty messy, so I changed and I moved to a thin or small screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver. Now, this is only a section of the trenches. There actually is much more in this collection, and I'll show you here. Here's all my trenches. There's a few hundred pieces of trench line in there, which would make up the primary trench, the secondary trench, and the reserve trench, along with the communication trenches. And I just made various designs. I don't know why I'm focusing on these things so much, but it's when you do that kind of like the drywall stuff, and you can kind of make neat little designs in it, and it works pretty well. Along with the trenches and the defenses that the Germans get, there's also the objectives for the Canadians, which I didn't go through in the last video of the Canadians, so let me just move this out of the way. And some of the objectives are towns. So here we have a little assortment of towns that I have created for this game. Now, these are just generic. I just made these generically. I didn't do anything special with them, but there is quite little nice figures. I think these are time cast 2mm figures, 2mm or 3mm towns, and they were easy to paint, easy to do, just on a piece of metal. It's kind of, you can kind of bend it, and then just stuck them down with some static grass, and that was that. There's actually a nice church in that set. Here we have more of a not really a town, more like a village, a very sparse village. Here we have more of an industrial sector, an industrial sector, I can speak, with some, looks like something you'd find in Holland or maybe Belgium. And another part of the town. And the last piece. Now, these would be the town objectives that would be beyond the trenches. These would be the objectives of high command, like we want you to break through the line, and if you do manage to break through, we want you to head towards this town. So the towns wouldn't really be destroyed at that point. They would be close to the front line. Now, in the front line itself, the direct objectives, I have created ruined towns. The same way, just a piece of metal cut out, drywall stuff put down, some rocks thrown in, and some ruined buildings, and just sprayed gray and dry brushed. And here's another one. These would be the objectives physically that would be on the front line. So your initial objective, Canadians' first objective, is to capture this town, and then this one, and then the full town in the back. So let me just put that back here as an example. The trenches would be here, either in front of or behind the town. And we'll just put Moquette Farm, my little label. I create labels for my objectives so people, when they're writing their battle plans, can tell on the map what's what. So you would have your objective here, and let's say you would have a pillbox like this. Here's the trench line. That's your objective. The German player would secretly put down where his units were. We'll just say, well, that's where his units would be, and your objective would be to go through the front trench line, take out this, capture that, and then head on to the town beyond. And the reason why I show that here is not to just ramble, but it's a key element of the game, is the verbal written orders that you have to write and discuss before you start rolling dice and moving. And we'll just do the last one here just real quickly. There's another one, and that's that. I have more German infantry painted. The back is figures I showed you earlier. I have another division's worth of these guys painted up, but that's mainly for if the Germans are attacking, because I'd have to have 3 times as many attackers as I would have to have defenders. So it's paint 2 German divisions, then you got to have 6 Canadian divisions or 6 Allied divisions. So I left it at the 1 versus 3. I think it's pretty fair. Anyway, just past the 10-minute mark. That's basically my 6mm World War I collection shown off. If you guys have any questions about it or any comments, want to know any more about the rules, I'd be happy to oblige. Just leave them comments down below, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.